Well, hello there. Hello, everybody. How you doing? John the Human, welcome in. That all works. Everything's all working. Sorry I was a wee bit late. I was trying to prepare some things for you. How's it going? Eh? Is everybody recovered for your Halloween times? I hope yous have. Today I'm going to do a behind the scenes making of the Halloween stream. My jacket. My jacket's a wee bit too absorbent for these bubbles to be landing on it, so let me just aim that more towards the technology area. Hello, how you doing? Everything is not my 10:30. No, I'm the real 10:30 Scroobius Pat. Cool, it's just all now spunking all over my PlayStation. Obviously, I've been messing about with the bubble robot a fair bit. Sorry, the bubble gun. I have also been messing about with the bubble robot, and that's coming quite soon. You can see my taskbar for some reason. See, in Windows 11, they've got a thing that hides the taskbar, except at Disney hide it. Is that another? Oh, a raid and another raid for Good News Biscuit Hour. Hello, everybody. Lock the taskbar. Lock the taskbar. Right, everybody. What we're doing is we're getting right to. I used to use the term nitty gritty. Aye, right, everybody. But then I've learned that the term nitty gritty is of questionable origin, so I'm trying to not use it anymore. But what we're doing is we're getting down to brass tacks. Can I say brass? I don't even know the origins of that. What we're doing is, right, we're talking about the Halloween stream and we're getting right in about it. In order to do so, I need to sign into certain stuff in order to show you some things. And we're doing that just now. Genuinely, the coloured lights behind me have just stopped working. Genuinely got some tech issues. But I quite like it because this seems like sort of behind the curtain, you know what I mean? Showtime is over, it's time to just sit down and talk. Talk about how certain stuff is done. Welcome in, how's it going, and also how's it even going? I mentioned the bubble robot recently, as in just there, right? And you'll be pleased to know that the bubble robot, I've been working on it for the past maybe 12 hours. Bubble Robot's coming back. Bubble Robot is coming back. That's my good news. If you have got any good news, we share our good news. We share our good news at the start of the stream. I would like to know what your good news is. If you've got any good news, stick it in chat. I would like to say thank you to the following people. Stevja, how you doing? Nearly the big 4-year sub. That is unbelievable, Stevja. Thank you very, very much. Stevja, thank you very much for your Prime sub. I love Prime subs. And I think after that Halloween stream, do you know what I mean? I think if you've got a wee Prime sub just sitting there not getting used, I think you should consider popping it my way just like Stevja did, because it's at no extra expense to yourself and I can use it to pay my rent. Thank you. Stevja, thank you very much. Good News Biscuit, thank you very much for the raid. How you doing, Bowdy? Sabertooth Hamster, thank you very much for the sub. Super Sausage Fish, thank you very much for the sub. Iron Shepherds, thanks for the follow. Welcome in. Don't usually shout out my follows, but it's in a list. John the Human, thank you very much. And Shaggus, how you doing, Shaggus? I know Jings as well. Espadrille, hello Espadrille. I'm absolutely covered in bubbles. Here, there's a real chance that I might accidentally drown from bubbles. Imagine that. Imagine how that would look. Oh, we don't have to. We've already seen it a couple of days ago. Welcome in, folks. How's it going? At the start of the stream, what I like to do is share good news. My good news is I feel quite happy about the the Halloween stream. For what it was, quite happy with how it turned out. So if you've got any good news, please feel free to stick it in chat. I'm just making sure I can show you in. So I want to show you everything about this Halloween stream. technically how it was put together. Conceptually, how it was put together. The things that nearly made it in, the things that were in and then that I've removed, and all of that sort of stuff. So we're going to roll our sleeves up and we're going to get tore in, and I will give you an insight on the creative process of how I did the Halloween stream. If you're watching this and you haven't seen the Halloween stream, big spoilers, by the way, I'm going to just spoil the full thing. So, particularly if you're on a VOD, stop watching this, watch the stream before this one, and then watch this. And because, spoilers, it was quite good. Welcome in, folks. How you doing? Let me start at the top. Hello, Rye3D, 87-year-old Duke, Fat Dad Carnivore, beneath the headphones. Rye3D is in with a bit of good news. Rye3D says, good news, my office mandatory attendance got lowered from 60% to 30%, which means 10:30 Mondays are back. Rye3D, that's excellent news. However, you should obviously be watching me like with your headphones in. Do you know what I mean? There's lots of wee discreet ways that you can watch me if you need to be in the office as well. You just need to get creative about it. Rye3D, okay, I'm counting on you doing that. Rye3D, thank you very much. Big Scary Deer, how's it going? Big Scary Deer says, big shout out to all the cozy slipper wearers in chat today. Do you want to see what are on my feet? Also, you get a wee glimpse of my autism trousers, because that's right, it's a special day today. I'm wearing my autism trousers and wearing some cosy slippers. Rachel gave me my Christmas present early. They're wee cosy slippers and they're brilliant. I'm double autism in it up. I've got my autism trousers and I've got a Sonic the Hedgehog t-shirt on. I'm a walking cliche, man. Welcome in, folks. The full house is still a mess, man. See, at the end of any project, it takes a long time for everything to get back to normal. Look at that. That's interesting how these balls were all facing number forward, and I guess gravity has just sort of rolled them down the double-sided tape, because now they're all faced that way. That's quite interesting. I wonder what that would look like, you know, with like a time-lapse sort of thing or something. Anyway, maximum respect to all the Cozy Slipper crew. Hello Shagus, Rosie Cat, how you doing? There's a new name, I think. Hello Rosie Cat. Raptor Chris, hello, how's it going? That's a new name as well. Welcome in. I've got on good authority that Mac, the Macaroni Prince, that was a wee bubble, told people about my stream and have encouraged at least 3 new people to be watching my stream. So thanks for that, Macaroni Prince. Hello, Cater Cakes. How you? Kate, you did get first. I saw that there. Hello, Gibbs. How's it going? Kate and Gibbs, 2 behind-the-scenes very special people that helped me achieve some stuff that I did on Halloween, but I'll tell you all about that in a wee second. Hello, Yes It's Bland, how's it going? 2 Crooked Fingers, how you doing? Funkyman316. Big Scary Deer says, Monday is basically finished now, which means it's Tuesday, which means it's pretty much halfway through the week, which means it's nearly the weekend. Big Scary Deer, get the cans opened, man. Pfft. Polish cans. In fact, I better watch who I'm saying. You know what I mean. Start your weekend, man. Feet up. Sorry I was on a wee bit late there. I was just getting various things all set up because I wanted to show you some stuff. A lot of people have been asking how the loft is going, because genuinely I was having technical difficulties in the loft. The microphone wouldn't work. The computer was all buggered and all of that. I spent 3 days getting the microphone working in the loft, but the live link to the loft is still working excellent, and the microphone is still set up brilliant. Do you want to have a wee peek up to the loft just now? We're not going to the loft this stream, but I just want to prove that it's all working brilliant and nothing has been ruined. Will we go over to the loft and have a wee look? Who wants to do that? Will we do that? Let's have a wee look at the loft. Right, well, I might have some teething difficulties to fix in the loft, right? That's pretty good, isn't it? Look at that. So, that is just one of the clips that didn't make it into the Halloween stream. And today I'm going to be telling you how I made some of that sort of stuff. Let's look at it again. It's good gear, isn't it? It's good gear. Looks alright. For what it is, it looks alright. So welcome in, folks. This is the real 10:30. Chameleon says, I thought it was an elaborate Halloween part 2 and AI 10:30 would be on, but it wasn't working. Sorry, AI. Nothing's working anyway. Nothing's working. Hello, Get a Whale. How you doing? Hello, Bowdy. Scroobius Pip. How's it going? Windows 11 is a right pain in the hoop. It's a mess. I'm going to not upgrade my Bubble Robot to Windows 11. The Loft computer is upgraded to Windows 11, but I'm not doing it for the Bubble Robot. And I'm going to just try and harden Windows 10. And we'll see how it goes. But welcome in, folks. Nitty Gritty is cancelled. Not cancelled in a bad way, but right here, just to get bleak for a very wee second. Plodder, thank you very much for the hydrate. Nitty Gritty, apparently, I've been told, somebody that I know and like discovered this when I was working in the art school. Plodder, thank you for the hydrate. But the term nitty gritty allegedly comes from slave ships, right? Where, like prison ships, and these slaves that have just never seen the outside would just sit in place over like a mesh grill thing, and they would sort of die where they were sitting. And then over time, like all the stuff that happens when you die would go through this mesh and end up as some sort of substrate down below. So apparently people would go through this sluice, is the word sluice, looking for like jewellery or coins or whatever. And that there is the origins of nitty gritty. You're going through like all the grit and all the bits. So I don't want to just casually drop that into conversation, you know what I mean? I'll ask the woman if that's true. I'm not asking Halen. Me and him are in the mood with each other, aren't we, mate? Nothing. Getting nothing out of him. So there we go. That's what's happened. So we don't get DVD behind the scenes features. You know what I mean? And so today we are having a DVD behind the scenes feature on the Halloween stream. If you haven't seen the Halloween stream, stop watching now, go watch a Halloween stream. Unless you're watching live, in which case it'll be fine because I like all your eyeballs and I like people watching me. Yes, it's Blanche says, good news, saw Turnstile last night and they were incredible. Amazing. I know a couple of people that went to see Autechre last night and now their wives are in a mood with them because they weren't entirely sure what to expect. I've been to see Autechre twice, and it's an experience, something different, isn't it? I didn't go last night, but there are some folk that are just like that. Somebody says they feel like they've been boil washed, and like, I kind of get it. For context, if you're unfamiliar, Autechre are a very abrasive electronic music act. I once smoked a joint with Autechre back in the day. They're cool. They're cool people. And their set is more kind of like art, where every single light in the room is switched off. Fire exits are sort of masked up, so that it's pitch dark, like a sensory thing. And then the most abrasive electronic loud music plays. And even then the word music is debatable for a lot of people. And occasionally it'll dip into like something that you can dance to, and as soon as it gets into that, it's pulled away. Then it's just like another 40 seconds. You're like it's an interesting experience, especially if you're a wee bit out your nut. Autechre. Was anybody away to see Autechre last night? Bowdy says, good news, mozzarella sticks for lunch. That is amazing. I have just had a bowl of tomato soup. Listen, everybody, in 4 minutes, Pipper gets her lunch. One of you lucky people are going to be able to redeem a channel point redemption in which you can feed Pipper her lunch. And listen, she's told me she is very, very hungry. So in 4 minutes, a channel point redemption called Lunchtime for Pipper is going to appear. and one of you lot are going to be able to redeem that. It costs 1,030 channel points, but I've had 4 years of no channel point redemptions, and so basically you have all got millions of them. Where are we? Peacock says, good news, the Facebook algorithm radicalised me into making strawberry cheesecake brioche buns and I only ate 2 of them for lunch. That sounds just amazing. That sounds like a strain of weed. Peacock, that sounds cool, man. LD Gav says, good news, Doc gave me vitamin B12 tablets and I feel way less tired. It's getting to that time of year, everybody. Get your vitamin D, get your vitamin, because you need to combine them, don't you? If you're taking solid vitamin D, you need to combine them with K2 as well, don't you? Otherwise it can like calcify something or something. Get your vitamin D, everybody. I'm not getting my vitamin D and I feel like shite for the past couple of weeks. I'm very glad your B12 LD Gav is all going good. Kate is in. Kate Cake says, good news, I had my first actors showcase and I didn't forget any of my lines. I can officially say I have performed Shakespeare to an audience on British soil. All of that sounds good except for the last 3 words. I wouldn't really be proud of the British soil part. Kate, do you know what I mean? See the word British soil next to each other? Just like reeks of pure... Oh. But everything else, man, sounds brilliant. Congratulations, Kate. You are an esteemed actor. Not only are you an award-winning podcast person and an amazing other person with all sorts of multifaceted talents, but you're now a Shakespearean actor. Fucking, who would have saw that coming, really? That's great. Ry3D says, I had pals round on Halloween who don't know much about 1030, had the stream on in the background and one of them says, oh my god, his house is on fire. That's brilliant. Meatball says, alright squad, that nice the hat is recognised as terrorism by the state of Florida. It is, isn't it? Isn't it strange how an anti-racist... So this is B. Dolan merchandise, right? So if you're going to imprison anybody, imprison that guy. He's already in America. Do you know what I mean? I'm fine. But how can an anti-racist... How can anybody have any beef with an anti-racist hat? I'm waiting on somebody saying something. Because if anybody's getting any bother about that, it's like, oh, so you're into racism then, are you? Anyway. Florida, though, you know. Maximum respect to all the Floridians. Dearie me. So the hat is actually part of the stream as well. I had ideas for the Halloween stream that involves this hat that didn't quite make it into the final cut. Lots of things didn't make it into the final cut. Other things did right at the last minute that I wasn't expecting. And it was an exercise in just going with the flow. The deadline was there. I had loads of stuff roughly thought out. Some of it was solid. Other stuff was a bit more up in the air. Deadline wasn't going anywhere, and I got it over the line. It was a good exercise in compromise, and working in live telly for the past couple of years has prepared me for that, which was really good. So I want to get into all of that in a wee second. So that's cool that you freaked out your pals. Mohawk Dad says, my good news is my oldest boy turned 2 on Friday. Mohawk Dad, that's brilliant. RCL Studio, how you doing? Thank you very much for your Prime sub. No good news today. Got norovirus and I'm dying. That's shite, Ray. All the very best. How bad is it getting COVID? Well, it's not COVID. But how bad has it been ill just now? Like, say a couple of years ago, if you got coronavirus, you'd got all the sympathy, man. Folks would bring you hampers. You know, oh my God, did you hear? Folk would be texting did you hear so-and-so's got coronavirus? Now, if you've got something like that, folk are like, so fuck, mate, get into work. You still, the recommendation is you still need to come into work, okay? Right, see you at 10 o'clock, right? Ray, I hope you're feeling better. There's bad stuff going about, everybody. Mind Over Chatter and Mohawk Dad, Raptor Chris, we've got a lot of new names in. The Lightling, new names and people who don't often come in, so thank you very much. Why is that? Why are you here? I mean, it's good to see you here, but why are you here? Stay here. Stay right? Because I need the new eyeballs, try to grow this whole enterprise and stuff like that. Was it the Halloween stream? Do you know what I mean? Or am I just losing it and yous have all been in chat for the past 4 years and I just don't recognise your names? Wonderful to see you in, everybody. Budge up. Lots of new bum cheeks to be sitting down. Budge up, everybody. Hello, how you doing? Welcome in. So are the house lights fucked or was that a work? No, house lights are genuinely fucked. Still totally fucked. Rachel still can't turn the lights on. But I leaned into it because we seeds of truth and stuff make things... You just go with what's happening, don't you? Beneath Headphone says, good news, I did my first ever dump. Right. Did my first ever dump run in my car all by myself. Bad news is a warning light came on the dashboard, but that's a problem for future me. That sounds good, Beneath Headphone. How good's it going to the dump? That's brilliant. That's great. Lightling says, might need to get a fire extinguisher. Way ahead of you. Way ahead of you. Going to turn out Pipper is just a guy in a costume eating biscuits for a bowl. Sorry, everybody. Lunchtime for Pipper is now enabled. It's Pipper's lunchtime. Who's going to get the channel point redemption? There it is. Devon Inc. Congratulations, Devon Inc. Wonderful to see you in. Devon Inc. redeemed. Alright, wait till you see her toddle in. Oh, she's up on the couch. Look at her wee jump. Yes. Yes. She's cute as a button. I wonder if I could turn off, infrared mode and what we would see if we turned off infrared mode, because I don't quite... Makes it just look scary and as if the camera's been attacked by like a giant squid or something. Wonder about repositioning the camera. I don't know. I mean, I'm quite happy to just leave this because it already took a wee bit of effort. So, notice up the top right, there is a time code on the Pipper camera. And in the Halloween stream, there isn't a time code on the Pipper camera. Do you know why? Because I couldn't be arsed. I ran out of time. But I wanted the time code on the Pipper camera to look real, as if it really is coming from the living room live. But it wasn't. So, there you go. There you go. Nobody noticed. Lots of wee mistakes like that in the Halloween stream, but nobody noticed and it's fine. Devon Inc., thank you very much for feeding my dog. Thank you very much. Where are we? You can flip Windows 10 onto long-term support and get another couple of years security updates. Amazing, Bowdy. I will need to have a wee look at how to do that. Scroobius Pip says, my good news is, in an hour, I'm going to go to record a podcast with Bill for Bill and Ted. Bodacious! If you need me to put on my face, my computer face, and pretend to be Ted, I can do that as well. But I don't think the big man will like it too much. That's incredible. I hope you both be excellent to each other. Look at my dad in chat having a go at Scroobius Pip for name dropping. My actual dad. That's funny. And how good was Scroobius Pip's Halloween stream as well? I got a genuine fright with the snooker player. His dad. And I was waiting on something. I was like, something's going to appear here. And, fuck that. Incredible. A lot of people are saying Scroobius Pip is the king of Halloween. And do you know what? I'm not offended at that at all. Somebody was asking me, would you make a Pip's... He's saying he's the king of Halloween and you're doing all these Halloween streams. And I was like, I don't want a royal title. Thanks very much. Because royal titles are a lot of shite. Thank you. So Scroobius Pip can be the king of Halloween all he wants. But I wouldn't affiliate my good name with anything that sounds as toxic as that. But all the very best, Scroobius Pip, king of Halloween streams. I'm kidding on. I genuinely didn't know what he was going to do because he was being all coy. And he's like, oh, I'm going to do something, but it's not going to be big. And I'm like, are you, mate? Aye. So we were texting like the week before, just like, are you doing one? Aye, I'm thinking about it. Are you doing one? I'm thinking about doing. Oh. And we did, and it was incredible. I think next year we maybe need to combine forces. But we've said that for the past 2 years. It's hard. It's really hard, everybody. It's dead stressful. And I don't know about Pip, but for weeks afterwards, my house is just fucked. All the obligations and responsibilities that I was supposed to be on top of, nah. Rachel is just strained. I had the Rachel brief. In fact, is it in my pocket? Aye. So this is Rachel's brief for the night. Put Pipper in jumper, and then I will feed her dinner, because it was important to show the Pipper camera before we show the living room on fire. Otherwise, people watching for the first time would be like, well, why has he got a camera in his living room? So it was very important to show Pipper getting fed, to set that up. You know what I mean? And because it was Halloween, we've got wee bat wings for Pipper. So I wanted to show off, we've got Pipper in her bat wings because she's dressed up for Halloween. Also, on a previous version of the edit, I had that living room shot, but with the sound of Pipper barking in the background as if she was in trouble. And I thought, I can't do that. Even though it's obviously fake and stuff like that, I can't do that. So the story then had to be that Rachel and Pipper were leaving for her mum's. And they weren't. They stayed in there. Rachel was helping me out with a couple of various things. But then Pipper didn't want to wear her bat wings because she's a wee diva. So we thought, right, what about a wee jumper? And I don't know if I can't remember if she got in her jumper. But anyway, so this is Rachel's brief. Put Pipper in her jumper. I will feed her dinner. Use both leave for your mums. Turn off the lights, because I thought, what happens if I'm in the middle of the Halloween stream and then I get trick-or-treaters at the door? Right at a crucial point where something really has to go right. Fuck. So Rachel was instructed to turn all the lights in the house off. Then she goes into the bedroom, because what happens if, on the Halloween stream, the story is that Pipper and Rachel both leave, but then something happens and Pipper starts barking, giving the game away that she didn't leave and she's still in the house? Fuck. So Rachel had to sort of lock both of them in the bedroom, close both doors, and was just sitting feeding Pipper cheese, so that she was quite content. The wee monster. When Hal says he sabotaged the lottery, type in chat, Jim, why did you send my mum that? Fucking hell. So that was Rachel's schedule for the night of the Halloween. I also have got for you the full storyboard, right? So this here is the full storyboard, and I will go into detail because certain things worked well. Can I zoom in? I should be able to zoom in. There we go. Certain things worked as I thought. Like, so this storyboard, the first card is just lotto prediction. That involves everything that was like in the first half of the thing. Anyway, so I'll go into that in detail if anybody's interested. And if you've got any questions about anything as I'm going through it, feel free to put it in chat. Chameleon says there's nothing supporting the nitty gritty thing. It seems it's an urban legend. Interesting. Okay. Apparently the first recorded use of the term was 1956. Interesting. Thank you, streakers. Thank you for multiple streaking watching people. There is a thing that crops up every Halloween that apparently the term spook or spooky is racist, and so we shouldn't use it around Halloween, and it gets all the gammons all angry. And I'll talk about that at another time, because I want to talk about it in a delicate thing. So maybe I'm not going to just wade into that just now, but I've got thoughts on that. Peacock says, Tecker is for when Aphex Twin isn't challenging enough. Aye, 100%. Right, 3D, I'm sorry you didn't win the Pipper feeding war. By the way, I'm behind in chat. See, for any new people, I just read all of chat one at a time. So keep being active in the chat, but I'm now probably about half an hour behind in the chat because I read every single comment. Right, 3D, next time, mate, you need to keep coming back in. Round about 2 o'clock, we feed Pipper her lunch. I hope Pipper has a chance to digest her lunch before the robot apocalypse this time. She's a wee tumshy. Cater Cake says, I have 234,000 channel points. I wonder what I could do for 234,000 channel points. Don't know. Don't know. I'm going to get some channel points on the go, folks. Hope Pipper get... Aye, sorry, I've just read that. Welcome in One Robot Band. I'm having a trip to Bristol on Thursday for Autechre. Interesting. That's cool. I'm taking high strength vitamin D, B complex and C with zinc. What's this K stuff? Gary, so apparently if you're taking vitamin D long term, vitamin D3, it's worth also combining it with K2. Do a wee Google, right? I'm not going to get into it just now. But vitamin D3 on its own, if you're taking it regularly, can cause some sort of problem. I'm not a health professional. Do not trust the life advice of a live streamer. But vitamin D3, if you're taking it constantly, does have incredible benefit. But to negate a downside of it, if you add K2, something to do with calcifying something or something like that. So heads up, have a wee look about that. I might be talking a lot of shite. Do your own research. Thank you very much. Nice one, Raptor Chris. Welcome in. How's it going? Fuck, I forgot about the 10:30 Halloween stream. Chrissy, it was brilliant. The Lightling says, I think some over-exaggerate. I had a cold and someone said it, COVID, this was in 2021. Well, I mean, if it was COVID, you would know about it. Or maybe you wouldn't. It affects people differently. And even if you don't have COVID in a way that you really feel it, you can still be a vector for transmission, can't you? Absolute highlight of my day. I love her. Pipper's cool, man. Pipper's been a wee silly sausage recently. She's been a wee cutie patootie. And she's like just demanding cuddles. So I had both computers. So I'm upgrading the Bubble robot, right? I backed up the Bubble robot before I did anything. And I installed I made a USB drive that can remotely image the computer. What's it called? Mac Reflect or something like that it's called. So it takes a perfect image of the computer drive and sticks it on my server. So last night, and I was doing all this in the living room as well because the loft is freezing just now, and it involved a lot of unplugging stuff, plugging stuff back in. So I just came downstairs and did it in the living room. And as I'm working away, I was sort of sitting cross-legged in front of this 2-PC stack. The top computer is the Bubble robot, the bottom computer is the Loft computer. So I've imaged both of them because it took me about 2 weeks to get the microphone working on the Loft computer. So before I fiddle with it anymore, I want a perfect restore point. So I managed to do it, but both computers, and thank you very much to Gibbs for stealing me these computers a couple of years ago. I'm definitely putting them to good use. Both computers are old Dell Office PCs, and because of that, Dell have got security features that means sometimes things don't work in BIOS. You need to turn certain things off and on. You've got Dell Secure Boot. You need to enable legacy mode if you're wanting to boot for a USB drive. All of this pish that I've had to sort of discover as I'm doing it. But I got it done, and it's all brilliant. I forgot that I put a server grade graphics card, so I've got an old NVIDIA Tesla P3 graphics card in one of them, and it's a headerless graphics card. It doesn't have any video out, but I'm using that in the Bubble robot to render the video to stream it to Twitch. But because that graphics card was in it, it was trying to use that graphics card to render the BIOS. And I was sitting there for about 2 hours wondering why the BIOS wouldn't show up on the screen, to the point that I was getting like really old monitors. And I'm like, right, well, a VGA monitor, BIOS will show up on a VGA monitor. I had to open it up and I remembered, I'm like, oh shit, I've got a dedicated, like, hacky installation of a graphics. So anyway, had to pull that. As soon as I pulled that, the BIOS would show up. I was able to do things. So I've successfully imaged both of them, which is incredible news. And it means that we're going to jump back into the Bubble robot. In the next 2 days, I'm receiving RAM. I've got a cheap deal on RAM from eBay, and it's the right type of RAM. And it means that both the machines will be upgraded to a point where they should be stable and performant and do the job for what I need them to do. So the Bubble Robot's coming back. I'm looking at creating generative music based on the colours of the bubble. I'm going to have to get a workspace cleared because the Bubble Robot will be something that I'm working on for a couple of weeks, I think. And it's hard enough to work on it, but I also need to stream my work on it. Otherwise, what's the point? You know what I mean? So that's coming quite soon. The next project will be the Bubble Robot. How exciting is that? Your house reminds me of a Saturday morning kids TV set. Brilliant. Thank you very much. I was going for sort of broom cupboard feel. I want to add bits. I need to fix certain things, but the full house is fucked, man. I've just got stuff like this kicking about everywhere. Full house is mad. How about First Minister of Halloween? I will take that peak off. I'll take that. Two kings texting about their plans for their kingdoms. No, I abstain. Scroobius Pip. King of Halloween there, Scroobius Pip. Rye3D says, Rachel sold it well in chat. For a moment, I thought it was real because she was like, I don't know what to do. Dando was a wee bit worried that when the house went on fire, that somebody would literally phone 999 or something. But I think the way that it came out, it was quite obviously like fun scary rather than actually real scary. But I gave all of that a lot of consideration. Mr. Mediocrity, how you doing? Welcome in. Thank you very much for subbing. So everybody noticing you're getting like an extra couple of settings of bubbles now? Since I upgraded it all, just added you an extra wee couple of settings just to make sure that you're getting your value for money. Mr. Mediocrity, thank you very much. Thanks for 56 months. Jeez, oh. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Meatball says, I particularly appreciate that the Pepper Cam is both functional wee tool and a cool stream thing, since 1030's usual work process is to spend ages over-engineering something for stream that has no use elsewhere. Aye, definitely. For me, for this sort of stuff, it's usually about the journey rather than the destination. I'm a process guy rather than an outcomes guy. And it's good that one, because it's for Pepper, see if I'm doing something for somebody else, if it's like a work thing or whatever, I will get over the line usually unless something really bad happens. But if I'm doing something for me, if I'm like busying myself away at something, as soon as I get kind of bored or interested in something else, I'm like popping it off. But because that was for Pepper, need to finish it. Also, I didn't build the pet feeder thing on stream. And see, when I'm on my own doing something off stream, I work a lot quicker. You know, I can spend half an hour just looking for something, for example, for a tool that I need or whatever. Whereas if you're doing something on stream, it slows everything down. It's harder to do because it's a whole other plate that you need to spin to be able to document what you're doing well. You know? So I storyboard everything out, and my storyboards aren't well drawn, right? But here's the deal about storyboards, they don't have to be well drawn. And quite often, if people put too much effort into like the rendering of their storyboards, then they can be putting it in the wrong place. You don't want your storyboards to look beautiful, because if they look beautiful, you're then less likely to chop and change stuff. So, and I'll tell you about my experience with storyboards, right? Everybody uses them differently, but David Lynch, right, got me using index cards. I don't have any index cards here, but index cards are they're like blank business cards that are thin bits of card. Magicians use them, right? Derren Brown, for example, if he's going to read your mind, think of a name, right? Chances are at some point you've written that name down on a wee special index card at some point, not to reveal any tricks or whatever. Magicians use index cards. Different creative people use index cards. And So I use them quite a bit. I didn't have any in, so I just ripped up pages of like a wee notepad. Just make sure I'm not going to reveal anything. Wee notepad like this, and I'll just rip up pages because the strength of using index cards is that you can put an idea down, but when you're getting the idea out of your brain on the thing, you don't need to have context for it. It just needs to be that idea. Because humans, right, we're quite good at seeing, like, if I ask you to think of a film, you'll like think of a particular thing, The Shining or something, right, Star Wars, something like that. You won't think of the full 90-minute film at once. You'll probably just think of one image or one scene, right? And humans are good at working on that micro level. We're not good at working on a macro level. So when you're getting ideas together for a thing, so like for the Halloween stream, right? One of my ideas is the house is on fire for Pipper's camera. So I'll get that on an index card, but I don't know where that's going in the whole flow of the story. Another idea is that I'm arguing with Hal and I'm this close to him and it somehow explodes. So that's another idea, but I don't know where it's going in the story. I had another idea of the chat somehow getting infected with a virus and people in chat, all the text is all like getting corrupted. Didn't know how I was going to do it. That eventually turned into something else. But I got that down on an index card. David Lynch is famous for saying that as soon as you've got 70 index cards, that's you got a feature film. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think as soon as you've got 70 index cards, you've got a David Lynch feature film. But I don't think everybody can get away with that. But I use them as a way of like, oh, I've got this idea, I've got that idea, I've got that idea. But how do you then structure all of that? So what I like to do once I've got a lot of ideas is sit down on the floor, cross-legged, put them all out in front of me. And quite soon it becomes obvious which should go in front of the other ones, right? So before this happens, that needs to happen, right? So I'll put that there. And if that happens and that happens, it would probably be good if that thing happened after that. And then you sort of reorganise. And before you know it, you've got a full draft of the order of events that stuff should happen in. And you know that each event on its own is going to be good because it was good enough to write down on an index card, you know. In the process of doing that, you might realise, shit, there's a gap. So all this stuff works on its own, all that stuff works on its own, but how do I get from that to that? Shit. And then that gives you ideas, or you realise that this other thing... Burniston Butcher, how you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. How's it going? If you're just joining us, we're talking about behind the scenes of the Halloween stream. So I like to use index cards, and there's an adage, and I'm not a writer, right, but I've read a lot about writing. So I know the common bits of advice, but I don't really write stuff. So I can regurgitate stuff that I've heard and the practices that I like to use when I'm working on something kind of like this. But what can happen, there's the adage of like write drunk, edit sober. And I don't think that applies literally unless you're Stephen King. But it's a metaphor for when you're in the ideas phase of like, oh, anything could happen, we'll do this and we'll do that. Wouldn't that be cool if that happened? Wouldn't that be cool? That's the writing drunk part. And then the edit sober is like, well, we can't get away with that. That's technically untenable. You know, we don't have the resources or money to budget that or whatever. So in the process, like all the wee ideas on index cards is the writing drunk bit. And then when I'm sitting down to see how they all go together, that would be the edit sober part. Different people have got different ways of working, and that tends to be something that I keep going back to. But anyway, if anybody's got any questions, so I'm going to go and I'm going to show you the storyboard. That's what they did with Shelley Duvall on the set of The Shining. Well, apparently, Shelley Duvall has consistently said that rumours of her being mistreated on the set of The Shining are completely bogus, and she had a wonderful time, and she insisted that right to her death. And I think those rumours started from the documentary that Kubrick's daughter made on the making of The Shining. And you need to look at the context of when that was made. So The Shining came after other scary films like Poltergeist, Exorcist, a couple of other films where they got a lot of press because of dark stuff that actually happened when they were shooting the film, right? I think in Poltergeist somebody died. What was the film where there was like a horrific thing and a wee boy actor died and all of that? There was another film where a real skeleton was found to be used. There were like tragedies that happened on the sets of scary films. And back in the day, right, before the internet and stuff, these rumours made those particular, because it was rumours at that point, you didn't really know what the truth was. The rumours made the whole character and vibe of those particular films have a bit more weight. Did you see that film? Do you know in that scene they actually died, or whatever it was, something real and terrible had happened? So I believe, because it's like she's constantly denied it and said that it was absolutely fine. It's a big thing on the internet that apparently Kubrick mistreated Shelley Duvall. And I think a lot of that is coming from the documentary that Kubrick's daughter made, which was intentionally, that was that had a narrative in itself, and it was half work, to quote wrestling terms, where Kubrick was being an extension of the themes that were in the film. So the film is that she's been mistreated by Jack, and that there's like this masculine oppressive force that is destroying his family and destroying lives and stuff like that. And I think that's where that happened. And then decades later, Kubrick got cancelled for it, or well, there were attempted cancellations for it. But right up until her death, and then after her death, because her pal was tweeting about it, just like, listen, I know what you're saying, but Kubrick was sound. He was absolutely fine. Hello, this goes to 11. Welcome in. How's it going? Hello, Thomas Greggs. Welcome in. How's it going? Thomas Greggs, a couple of years ago, you gave me plywood, and I used about that plywood last night on my Halloween stream. And I've got another bit of plywood here as well, and I used that, not last night, a couple of nights ago on my Halloween stream. So thank you very much for that. It's going to good use. Hello, TD. Welcome in. What's happening? If you get a decent amount of greens, skip the vitamin K. You get all from the green supplement and can cause an overdose. Interesting. There you go. I've got a spare GTX 1030 card somewhere. Amazing. Why is Sheffield Hallam Uni trying? I don't know, man. Don't know. You should have just downloaded more RAM. It is how it works, TD, 100%. Show that clip you sent me. I'm getting to it, wee shed. I'm getting to it. Has the Bob Robot always been the next project? No, for a long time it was R2D2. Hello, Avgas. How you doing? An overly rendered storyboard's a waste of time. Completely. 100%. So, when you're working on storyboards and stuff, the more effort you put into the rendering, the more precious you are about the storyboard, so the less likely you are to change it, right? My storyboards, like a lot of people, if they're looking at it, can't even tell what they're looking at. Literally stick figures, chicken scratches and stuff. But it serves a purpose. The purpose is to get the idea down so that you can see it in context. All the effort that you should put into like polish and rendering and stuff should go on the final image. It shouldn't go on the idea, It's like, your first draft, if you're writing it with a pen, making sure that all your handwriting's perfect. Like, there's no reason to do that. Bang it out. But then if you need to show it to somebody else, typeset it or whatever. You know what I mean? Anyway, Mid says, a gig at the company I am at the moment is using grayscale comic style rendering for the previs, so it's easier to edit, less precious. Aye. Grayscale rendering is good because you can assess value, like light and dark shade and stuff. So you can figure out how the image will look without having to heavily render it, you know. So is the background black? How many grey values are there? What's light? What's dark? That's a good way of doing it, 100%. Iron Shepherds use index cards. There you go. Everybody works differently, but this is what I tend to do. Shaggy says, I just mentioned it because storyboarding was the first time we used to do when I went to film school many years ago. My lecturer was always adamant not to make them perfect, scribbles at best. I completely agree. Totally, completely agree. Because it should be working. You're not doing the storyboards, or well, people do storyboards for different reasons, right? See if somebody's got a lot of money and you want to convince them to fund your project, you might make a really good storyboard. That's how The Matrix got made. They turned it into like a comic and it looked amazing. And they showed that to people and people went, here, take this money, there you go. So there are different purposes for storyboards, right? If you're doing that sort of thing, make it look as good as you can, right? But before they got to that stage, I guarantee you there were chicken scratch, just shitty looking storyboards that weren't rendered properly, but helped them figure out the order of the story and the scenes that were there and whatever else. Am I comparing my Halloween stream to The Matrix? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So I'll show you about all of that. I'll show you how it started, and then I'll show you how I fleshed that out using different tools, and I will show you shots that didn't quite make it as well, and all of that. And if anybody's got any questions throughout any of this, here, I can feel my throat getting a wee bit itchy. Oh no. Oh no. By the way, everybody, tomorrow I'm working in the BBC, Wednesday I'm working in the BBC. So I think maybe even Friday I'm working in the BBC as well. I'm taking a power of shifts on, so I'll be able to do evening streams, but I'm not going to be here at my usual 1:30 in the afternoon, just so that you know. If you're just in as well, you might not have seen this, but I finally got my microphone in my loft working. And just to prove, it's taken me a couple of weeks to get this working, and I'm so glad that it's working fine. I can just show you a live feed just now of the microphone because it's working great and nothing's ruined or anything. Right, well, it maybe needs a wee bit more work. That's right, I did the same gag twice. Did the same gag twice because I'm delighted with it. So, this here is an example of some of the visual effects stuff that I did for Halloween stream. And I'm going to show you how I did some of that stuff. But before you do visual effects shots, you need to figure out what you're actually doing, you know? And so that's where this comes in. And I will show you this, which is the storyboard. Right, where are we? It's great to get an insight in your creative process, not just the techie stuff, which is just as cool. Thank you, Mind Over Chatter. Real cadavers were used. Aye, was it Poltergeist or something? That's what I'm thinking of, Meatballs. 2 kids and the adult male lead died in the filming of the Twilight Zone movie because John Landis was incredibly unsafe, gobshite. The more I hear about John Landis, the more I think he's a terrible man. I think Poltergeist is one of the movies surrounded by rumours. Aye. So I think they were intentionally leaning into that to promote The Shining, but they maybe just leaned into it too far that folk thought that it was real. You know what I mean? Chrissy says, I need to hear this at the moment. That's me back on the index cards. Amazing. Amazing. The bird found its way out. This goes to 11. Yes. We opened the window. Or well, I forced it out. Opened the window. Closed the loft for hours. Turned the lights off. Went back up hours later and he was still just flapping about. The window was wide open and I'm like, come on, man. So I get a big pop-up green screen because it was like flying around the loft. Is that Rachel home? No, it isn't. It's supposed to. Cool. I got my green screen up and prevented him from flying around and just caused him to go out the window. So the wee bird is fine. The wee bird's absolutely fine. Okie dokie. So here is the storyboard, and keep in mind this here, right? It looks like shit, but that's the point. And this here is how you start before you can do stuff that looks like this, right? This stuff here, I would say, for me, is more important than the final polish layer. So here is, again, all these ideas are in isolation. So it starts off just with a lotto prediction. So for the longest time, and for the past couple of years, I've wanted to predict the lottery. The bird setups for the next year's Halloween stream, long-term booking, 100%. We need to do something. I'm thinking aliens or something. Pip, I don't know. Do you think we can get Arts Council funding? For the longest time, I wanted to do a lottery prediction. And hey, guess what? Up until the day before the Halloween stream, I was genuinely going to get the lottery prediction, like actually do it. And actually reveal the correct numbers, as if Hal really has predicted the real numbers. But in the process of laying this out, I realised that that was a bad idea, and I will show you why. So, so before I even get to the storyboard, I'm thinking, right, what are the themes and stuff here? I've got Hal, people know Hal. This year, everybody's talking about AI and why AI is dangerous, right? This is the year where everybody's pushing against AI. It's a lot of shit, it's dangerous, right? Hal is here, he's kind of AI. I've also been having techie problems that are real and genuine in the house because I'm trying to automate my house. So all of these thoughts, I'm sort of pushing into the one idea. Don't quite know what it is. It's like sort of mashing Play-Doh together and seeing what you're getting. What do I think about AI? I think that one of the biggest... So there are lots of different angles I could have taken. There's a real environmental impact, right? It warms parts of the earth. It ruins water. It can damage ecosystems and stuff like that, right? So there's that thing there. There's the whole Black Mirror side of it, where if AI is trained on data for the internet is kind of primed to make us all hate each other. So if there's lots of hate and misinformation about like vaccinations and stuff like that on the internet, and then AI is being trained on all of this just worst outcomes of humanity, then that could be a problem, you know? So I'm thinking about all of this sort of stuff, and I think it came from a couple of months ago. I was talking on stream about exactly that. Like, I remember there was a news story that Reddit was using all the Reddit posts to train AI, and I was like, fuck, because there are certain subreddits that after some streamer drama back in the day, if you go on those subreddits and you search for my name or Cater Cakes' name or other people's names, sorry to put you on blast, Kate, you will find misinformation, you know, because there's a dedicated group of people that feel that they have grievances. It's all just drama. It's all really petty streamer drama. So I'm thinking, well, what if an AI thought that was true? That's interesting. That could highlight one of the shortcomings here, right? Because when you're speaking to an AI agent, the things they are saying, they will tell you as absolute certainty until you catch them out and they'll be like, sorry, yep, you're right. Yep, you're right. I was also thinking about remember the Glasgow Willy Wonka guy that just defrauded people? Hi, Kate, how you doing? So the Glasgow Willy Wonka experience, if you're unfamiliar, was doing big on the internet, where just some guy made an attraction that you could visit, but it was total pish. It was awful. And it came out that he used an early version of ChatGPT to plan it all out. And one of the downfalls of ChatGPT is that even if you give it just a really stupid idea, it will do something called glazing. So it'll tell you, that's amazing. Not only is that one of the best ideas I've ever had, but I think you are a genius, right? That's what happened to this guy. Also, I think he was a wee bit of a bad guy as well. So I thought, what if I got trapped in that, right? And the AI was telling me that the lottery Oh, I'm definitely going to do it. Yep, definitely going to predict the right results, and how it could just blow up in your face. And what are the consequences of it blowing up in your face? The AI that can't be held accountable to anything just goes, sorry, ah well, yep, oh yep, you've fucked it. So all of these things were in my head, and I'm like, right, well, how do I put them down? And they things and multiple other things are in my head when I'm doing this as well. It's not as if I wrote them out at the start. Right, that's my brief. Like, I'm thinking about all sorts of stuff, right? So, what I wanted to do is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, which is a lottery prediction. Like Darren Brown did, or like multiple mentalists did before him. And I've been looking at ways of doing that for years, literally years. And so I thought, right, this is the time now to do the lottery prediction. So the idea was that the lottery prediction would work, but then it's a trick. It's a magic trick. And I am telling you, the audience, that Hal came up with the numbers, but then Hal cuts me off and says, no, James, it was a magic trick. The way that you did that was, and he'll just show like an extra camera angle of me sneaking balls into a sneaky place or something like that. Like, he reveals the method, he ruins it because like he's trying to not be deceptive and stuff. So that's how I originally perceived it. But in the process of doing this storyboard that I'm about to show you, it just in the day before, it sort of morphed into what you eventually seen. So the first card on the storyboard is just lotto prediction. There's me, there's the lottery numbers. Ta-da, I've predicted the lottery, right? This is all shorthand to just remind me of like other ideas that I've got. The second part of it is me explaining the lottery prediction. So how did I do that? And this is a false explanation. Magicians give false explanations. Uri Geller's false explanation is that he was struck by lightning or something like that. Darren Brown's false explanation is that he can read your body language and stuff. I mean, he can do it to an extent, but at the crux of it, it's magic tricks, right? But magicians know that if you give a false explanation, people then stop looking for what the real explanation is. So, start off with a lottery prediction. I will then give just a fake explanation for it. So, I've consulted a CSV of all the historic Euro Millions results. I've cross-referenced that with phases of the moon and used some spiritual crap and mixed it all together in AI, and that's how we got to the result, right? But then something happens. So this is the gap that I found. So I knew I wanted to do that bit, and I knew I wanted to do the stuff that came after, but I didn't quite know how to link that to that. So I just put a big thing there, and this is why the storyboarding process is important. Like, you could be doing a storyboard about, right, we're in a room and a man makes a cup of tea, right? And you might think that you could just go in and shoot that with a camera crew, but there's lots of stuff that you need to get right. Like the shot of him picking up the cup. The camera needs to be in the same side of him. Like, there's lots of problem solving that you need to do, which is why you do a storyboard. That's why storyboards exist. Anyway, so there was a big question mark because I didn't know how you'd get from that to that. You can't really see here, but this is Hal reveals, Hal butts in. So I thought for the first time ever, what would be quite good when you're speaking to one of these LLM models, right? You can talk over them. If Hal's talking away, I can butt in and he shuts up and he'll just take what I'm saying. But I thought, wouldn't it be cool for the first time if I was talking away and Hal interrupted me? And that would be like a key point that something's a bit different or it's going weird. Do you know what I mean? So as I'm talking away about how it was done, Hal butts in and says, no, James, it wasn't done like that. It was done because you secretly palmed the numbers and the numbers were blah, 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 something like that. Because I knew that there had to be an argument, a moment of contention between me and Hal. in order for him then to set the house on fire and stuff. That's where it needed to go, but how do you set that up? Everybody knows he's evil and stuff, but how do you set it up? So Hal turns bad and doxies, right? So in a previous version of this, Hal would dox my address, or something that looked like my address. Hal would bring up DMs on my computer of real arguments that weren't actually real, but arguments that I'd had with maybe other streamers or gossip, do you know? I wanted it to feel real, so that people watching would go, wait a wee minute, is that? What is that? Or maybe even show videos of, like, as I said in the past, occasionally people, it's calmed down since I've stopped sort of publicly being on Limmy's stream. He stopped being on my stream, but for the longest time, a lot of people saw me as a route to get to his viewers, I think, and so would just fabricate drama. That is completely stopped now, but I was going to show some of those videos of people say, oh, 10:30's this, 10:30's that. You know what I mean? So that you, the viewer, might think, wait a wee minute, what? He wouldn't bring that shit up. It's like, I would if I was... Anyway, so I decided not to do that. But, so the idea was that Hal turns bad, doxies my physical location, shows stuff that I don't want you to see, so that you think, fucking hell, this is real. And it's revealed that he's been trained on the sentiment on the internet that folk have said, right? It'll bring up DMs. So I was going to just fabricate me and ad, or me and Kate arguing, or me and... Like at that point, nobody had seen Dando for a while. So I could pretend that me and Dando had a big falling out. Me and Scroobius Pip or something had a big falling out. And Hal's revealing this to people because I've been a bad bastard, something like that. Don't know. For context, haven't fall out with anybody. I love all those people. They're all brilliant. So then Hal argues that I'm a liar or a racist or a hypocrite or a misogynist or something, and Hal genuinely believes that. Again, going back to the danger of AI that I was talking about months ago, that I just spoke about previously. So that was the setup for how he could turn bad. He spotted me lying. The lottery result was predicted, and he's like, well, that's not the first time you've lied. You're a bad man. And so Hal, using his supercomputer, has decided to then kill me. That was the setup. How do I get from just he can turn my lights off and on till he wants to kill me in a way that's believable? Because you folk have seen the Ghostwatch stream before, so you're maybe expecting something. How do I do it in a way that you're thinking, oh shit, this is actually real? Eventually I decided to not do that because the footage of the fire looked really real, and I didn't want people phoning 999. Didn't want to worry anybody. And it's Halloween, man. It's supposed to be fun. You know what I mean? But this is the journey that got us to the bit. Again, on the storyboard, Write Drunk, Edit Sober, this is me just chucking ideas out, and it's only when you see them attached to each other that you then realise what works, what doesn't work. This whole thing, just looking at it there, I can see the full thing. And so without having to physically make anything, I can spot what works, what doesn't work, what needs attention, what doesn't need attention. And if I'm reading through this in order, I'm excited about certain bits, and I'm not excited about other bits. And it means that I can edit without having to get anything to a level of being finished. Do you know what I mean? So, where are we? We're here. So Hal's trained on web sentiment. He brings up real DMs. He argues that I'm a liar, racist, hypocrite, whatever. Then the lights start to go haywire. The stream is interrupted. Hal disconnects my mouse. 2001 did it first. 2001 did do it first, 100%. So, I needed to do a nod. Nobody laughed in chat. But when Hal disconnected my mouse on stream, I said, Hal, plug my mouse in. And he ignored me. Plug my mouse in, Hal. He ignored me. Hal, please plug my mouse in. And there was a pause, and he went, I'm sorry, James. I'm afraid I can't do that. And that's the Pod Bay Doors in 2001. I'm sorry, Dave, I'm afraid I can't do that. You know what I mean? That's just literally lifted for 2001 as a wee nod. So if Hal's disconnected the mouse, I'm kinda fucked because I'm streaming and he's showing all this awful stuff. I was going to get him to show him a private video shot from a different angle, shot from like this angle, of me sitting watching some internet content or something like that, of me having a wee private moment, if you understand what I'm saying. Again, just to like make it real, because I wouldn't show you that. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you wouldn't see anything, but you know what I mean. So wouldn't it be interesting if Hal sort of doxed something that I was watching or something like that? And then what I wanted to do was have chat change and turn on me. So I was going to create exactly Gary Black. I was going to create mock accounts of people, so as that folk thought that Hal had infected usernames in chat. So what you can do is, like the name Chameleon, right? Instead of a lowercase l, I could create a new account with Chameleon and put an uppercase I, so that it looks the same but a wee bit off. So I was going to create maybe 10 or 15 accounts of your names that weren't actually your names, so as that in chat people watching would see themselves saying stuff that they didn't say. And it would get all creepy and weird. Again, just to like mess with the format a wee bit. I ran out of time, so I didn't do that. And instead of doing that, I just asked different people, Gibbs, Cater Cakes, Rachel, Scroobius Pip, Llama, Cudder was busy. Lots of different people, Bowdy, sorry if I've no remembered. So I copy pasted a brief to multiple folk saying, as soon as Hal said this, come into my chat and just pretend that you've received a DM from me. So that idea turned into something that required a lot less work and achieved more or less the same thing. And it was kind of cool because it meant that folk could collaborate. It was interactive and a lot of people were kind of in on it as well, which was kind of cool. Next up, we've established that Hal was turning bad. It was getting a wee bit scary. Oh no, what's happening? And audible wise, I wanted the error just to be able to ramp up to like a high pitched squeal or like a pop. And when I tried it just didn't work very well. But that was the idea here. Then the lights, there's a pop that happens, the lights don't work, and then I hear Fred barking. And so I'm like, what the fuck? And Hal reveals that he was just messing with me and he played a sound of my dead dog barking. So then when I got angry, because I had to build up, crescendo, and then there's a point of no return and it can start getting trippy. So this shot I knew that I needed. This shot was actually the hardest shot of the full thing, and it didn't look very good in the end, of my head being right up close to Hal, and Hal explodes and injures me somehow. Because how can he cause me injury was the thing. I knew that the fire shots needed to happen, and I knew that I somehow had to be incapacitated. So how could he do that? Well, it would make a lot of sense if I was right up here to him, and then there is like some explosion or something like that. Again, I drew it, put it down, and all of these cards are just placeholder, and at any point I'm ready to switch them out for something else if it doesn't quite work. As you can see, half of these didn't make it, that didn't make it, that didn't quite make it. And that's why you should work quickly with storyboards, because you should be ready to just switch something for something else or redraft something or whatever. So that made it in. This you can't tell for the drawing. Can you tell I went to art school? But this is a shot of the loft fire. Then it cuts back to me and I'm getting absolutely saturated in bubbles. Because how can he injure me? The bubble gun. I can drown in bubbles. Of course. Of course. So before I drown in bubbles, I need to be incapacitated. So he knocks me out using the bang. Then when I'm knocked out, he'll drown me in bubbles. Of course. So that was quite exciting. The bubble drown shot was a lot different until maybe, literally the night before. Because the bubble drowning shot was shot from this angle of me sitting like this. And it just didn't look very good. And then I realised in the narrative of the way it's put together, this camera is blown out. So you wouldn't see it from this angle, you would see it from this angle. And as soon as I shot it, I honestly did about 5 takes of getting drowned by bubbles. As soon as I shot it from this angle, and you're viewing it from his point of view, and like my head took up, about an eighth of the frame. I'm sitting like this. And the way the bubble gun was pointed, it was all going into the camera and stuff like that. And I'm really glad I redid that because the shot of it from this angle just looked like shite. It looked bad in comparison to that one. Exactly the same setup, exactly the same thing, but because I shot it from his point of view in the fisheye lens, and that camera's like not as good as this one and stuff, so it made it seem a bit more like real and gritty. That's Rachel home. Hello. Hiya.
Hi.
Yep.
Can I interest you in a soda pop
I'd love one, mate.
and a wee packet of cheese onion discos?
Oh, mate, I'd love some of that as well. Rachel, everybody. Rachel is coming in with some cheese and onion discos and a wee juice.
Wee soda poppy juice.
How's it going? I'm doing a big reveal on behind the director's commentary. This stream is brought to you by Desco's. And a tiny wee dog.
I was going to get a Rustler's burger because I had to go to the garage.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to get a Rustler's burger, but there was no Rustler's burger.
What's that on your chin? Have you been eating your own shite?
Yes.
Yes.
I see you.
Been eating my own shite.
Oh, look at that little belly.
She's a tiny wee dog. We've had a good day, haven't we, Pepper? Filled with cuddles. The only reason she's in here is because of she heard this noise. Didn't you? You're not getting any. I want to speak to you and hang out with you.
But you're doing your
I'm halfway through my director's commentary, so I'll give you a wee shout.
Is that why you're wearing your hat?
Aye.
You need a director's seat and also you need to get an interview with Pepper.
We do. We need to do a talking head with Pepper. And you can reveal your motivation, Pepper. Sausages and cheese. I was showing people your brief. That was the brief that you were given.
Yeah.
Right,
Which
do you want
was funny because I was panicking because she wasn't wanting to wear her bat wings.
Everything was just, we're going with the flow, man. We'll make it work. And it did work.
Were
We
you
got over the
telling
line.
that every time we brought out the bat wings, she would run into her wee house. She was just
She's a wee diva. She didn't want to wear her bat wings at all. I'm going through the storyboard, then I'm going to do a dissection of the visual effects. I'm going to show a lot of visual effects that didn't work. And then it's going to be brilliant.
What is that on your face?
What is on your face,
I
Pepper?
don't want to touch it.
Nah. Right, well, good luck.
Right. One minute.
I'll see you in a wee bit.
Love you, bye.
Bye. Love you. Didn't Hal self-destruct? No, because... Also, don't read into it too much. Hal exploded in my face, but Hal's brain doesn't live here. Just like in 2001, that's one camera of Hal, but Hal's brain is kind of like omnipresent. You know what I mean? Something like that. Don't know. A wizard did it. The bubble drowning was your favourite? Amazing. Aye. I think that worked really well. Has anybody got any questions so far? I'm going to just batter on the rest of this storyboard because it's a wee bit boring. Then I'll show you how I did some visual effects, right? So Bubble Drown, in that shot, the background was going to go on fire. Never had time to do that. Then a shot of Hal attacking Pepper. That changed a wee bit to... Because I didn't want to show a depiction of Pepper getting injured, even if everybody knew it was bad. The original idea was, so Hal right now can dispense biscuits, right? So I thought, like, what if the biscuits were just like, bang, like firing out like bullets? You're like, "Ah, what?" So a previous version of this had me in the living room, and biscuits were kind of like pinging off me and like creating welts and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, Hal's going mad. Why didn't Gandalf just fly Frodo to MF Doom? Sorry, to Mount Doom with the eagles? Exactly, Plodder. Exactly. A wizard did it. So this shot of Hal attacking Pepper changed to just the living room is on fire, but shot from that angle. Once I knew that that was there, we had to feed Pepper at the start, so it's like Chekhov's camera angle, Chekhov's bird feeder, isn't it? What was that notification? I hope it didn't dox me. Chekhov's, pet feeder. So if we show it at the start, we need to go back to it. You need to set it up. And then I thought, right, so I've saw all these AI videos. Have you seen the new AI videos of Friends? Like the AI sitcom? And wouldn't it be cool if I come back after I apparently get injured and Hal has made like an AI version of me? He's just replicated my likeness and stuff. So I'd been watching where are we? Should be a video of, there's AI videos of Friends that are about recently, and they're all glitchy, but I can't see them.
What on?
Oops. So here's like an AI video, I think, that's going about the internet, where they're taking a sitcom format, and these people don't actually exist. This isn't one of the ones that I saw, but there's videos of Friends, and like just their bodies are distorting and morphing into other things. I think they've maybe all been taken off the internet. I can't see, I can only see screenshots of them because Twitter search is terrible. AI Friends. Aye, so...
Oh, that's just great, Rachel. What? What did I do?
Pizza's here! I'm telling you, it was a deliberate move. There's no way that could be intentional.
Oh, you guys are so funny.
See, like her hand. Sorry, you can't see it. She reaches behind her for a guitar, in a way that her arm is just broken. Do you see that? So watch this person here.
Oh, you guys are so
And then
funny.
there's like a duplicate hand and all of that shit. So I wanted to maybe come back to a video of me saying, listen, don't worry, everything's fine. But if you look closely, like the magic trick at the end, my hands are like distorting through
As there's
each
some
other or
bricks
something.
to maybe and
I think when somebody stands up here, you get a duplicate of her as well. Nah, maybe not. There were a couple of these that I saw and they were just frightening. They're just kind of horrible. Is it this next one? Aye, so person in the green, look, there's like just a duplicate of her that pops out. You see that? It's just uncanny and off-putting and unsettling. So I thought, right, after Hal kills me and stuff, I want him to somehow take over my likeness, because AI is really good at that as well. It can speak like me, it can look like me, but then there are wee bits that are off, wee telltale things that are off. So I wanted to use this hat, right? But get a second hat commissioned where the text is AI. So it doesn't actually say anything, but it's just like wonky. So that I would come back wearing the wonky one. And if you're looking close, you would see what was happening. Turns out I didn't have time to get a custom embroidered hat. So I did some artwork, didn't make it in the end. I had an idea as well of me morphing into other streamers at the end. So that you think that maybe... So this is Scroobius Pip. Don't know if you could tell, but I draw a good Pip. So I'd be morphing into other stuff. So you think, oh shit, this is now bigger. It's like taking over the internet sort of thing. Hello, Pursue. Welcome in. How you doing? So that was all the ideas. And then I will show you the generation of some of the stuff. Or would it make sense to watch the actual video first, like the final thing? But in order to do this, I used a couple of different AI tools. Now, I wouldn't use AI tools on real jobs. If I was doing a job for telly, or if I was making a thing for a short film, or if I was doing a music video, or anything like that, I'm not going to use generative AI because it's kind of evil and twisted. However, in the context of this, it makes a lot of sense to use generative AI because we're actually talking about AI itself. You know what I mean? So I used Google Gemini, right? I'm trying to see, I'm linking the history of Google Gemini and it's not showing me the history of the generated image, which is really annoying. It's only showing me the history of the images that I've uploaded. Why is it not showing me? I wanted to just see the chat history. Google. You can't. Give me just a wee second. Rachel's singing about Pippa. So what I needed to do was new chat, expanded menu. Oh, aye. So I've got it here. Yep. So I started off with this image, which is just a real screenshot of Pippa's pet feeder. Right, so I fed that into Google Gemini AI. Free, totally free. I said, so I put the image in, I said, a terrifying house fire at night. The room is darkened with smoke. A fire roars and engulfs the room. Low quality webcam. And it gave me this back, which is a still image. It's got a watermark at the bottom right. And as soon as I saw this, I'm like, we're doing a Halloween stream. We are doing a Halloween stream. This needs to happen. So it's just a still image. And with that still image, I took it into Runway ML. And I used a feature of Runway ML. I spent about 30 or 40 quid in Runway ML. Halloween, that's good, Salty. That's very good. If anybody's got any questions at any point as well. So I went into Runway ML, and the feature in Runway, one of them, is that you can give it a starting image. So before I put it in Runway, I removed the time code up the top, and I removed the watermark. So Gemini's got a watermark down the bottom right. Took that into Photoshop, just did some actual manual, old school work on it. And Runway gave me this. And as soon as I saw that, I'm thinking, right, yep, we are doing a Halloween stream, man. We are doing a Halloween stream. So I created... Kirsten, how are you doing, Kirsten? Thank you very much for subbing. Welcome in. How's it going? Thanks for supporting me. Jesus Christ. I feel like you've given me a wee scare with that about 3 times in the past week. Lightling says, I saw the merging, did you? Nice one. Well observed. So right at the centre of 2 of these takes, I merged one shot into another one. Need to change the spooky picture? You don't at all. It's your brand now. You need to lean into it. Kirsten, thank you very, very much. If you're just joining, I'm doing not instructional, but I'm revealing how I did the Halloween stream. Thank you very much for subbing. Welcome in. So within Runway ML, there are different models that you can use. And this is the Runway version 3 or something, but you've got version 4, you've got version 3.1. I've not used this too much, but in the process of using it, I found out that if you try and use one of the better versions to depict anything that is violent or anything that looks like harm or whatever. Sauty, thank you very, very much for the Prime sub. Thanks very much again for supporting me doing all these mad ideas. I appreciate it. How you doing? Welcome in. Thanks very much. I love Prime subs. Thank you very much for doing that. So what I noticed is I had to use some of the older models because the newer models for generating video have got content restrictions on them, which means that as it happens, you're not allowed to render realistic videos of fire. So I had to go through multiple, just generic, there was an issue at our end, or there's an error, I can't do that. And so then I created another one. So in this start video, the fire spreads. It starts off kind of small, but gradually gets bigger. And a limitation of this model is that it can only generate 10-second videos at 24 frames per second. However, what I found out was if I take that 24 frames per second video and convert it to 15 frames per second, which I can because this is supposed to be a low quality webcam on a pet feeder. So it looks fine, it looks proper at 15 frames per second, but that means that I'm getting a longer duration. So I stitched 2 of these together, which gave me 30 seconds. And the fact that it holds on it for so long makes it a bit eerier. So this is the only other video I made of the living room. It's 10 seconds long at 24 frames per second. And it's just of the fire smouldering away. So it doesn't loop, and it would be great if it did loop, but it didn't. So then I imported both of these into Adobe After Effects and tried to sort of blend them together. I only had about an hour's worth of time to do on it. You can see the join if you're looking for it. I don't think most people did. So that's how I made that. And as soon as I saw this video, I was like, right, I'm going to commit to doing a Halloween stream. We are doing a Halloween stream. And I got quite excited about it. I then knew that I had to make the loft go on fire. So here are just generations. So again, I took a screenshot of the Loft 3/4 camera that on the stream before Halloween, I made sure everybody knew that I had multiple cameras in the loft, didn't I? I showed them off multiple times in the loft. Showed the 3/4 camera, showed the ceiling camera, showed the wide camera, multiple times for no reason at all. But there was a reason, and it was to set this up. So this one was one-shotted, worked perfectly. Again, went into Google Gemini, gave it a screenshot of the 3/4 video with the prompt, scary fire, filmed on a webcam, static camera, tripod shot, because it keeps trying to move the camera. And that made this, which looks alright. It looks real, but not as real as the living room shot did. And so I was wondering, I was like, why does this one look better? And it's because of the low quality web camera. Like the fire is just blown out. That's solid white. Whereas here you can see, it looks like visual effects. It looks like fire in a Transformers film or whatever. But I was looking at that and I'm thinking, right, if that was real and actually on the camera, it would be all blown out like this. So I took that video into Adobe After Effects and keyed out the fire and just upped the saturation a wee bit so that it was blown out a wee bit. Again, I was trying to use the better model, but it refused to set my loft on fire for content moderation reasons. I was going to start with the microphone because story-wise, the long con has been that the microphone in the loft doesn't work. So it would make sense if the fire started from the microphone in the loft. But it started doing like just weird AI shite that just didn't look real. And this is the problem with using AI generative video. It's quite expensive. It's got all sorts of ethical downsides. But when it generates something, you don't have much control over it. And if whatever you've generated is something that you're not entirely happy with, you still need to pay for it. So that generation there probably cost me a couple of quid, and it looks like shite and it's unusable. And I will get to more examples of that. Here is just the mic on fire without the background falling. I managed to convince it to do that. And that's quite fun. So I can, when I'm on stream, I've cut to that already twice today. I'm like, alright, let's go and see how the loft's doing. Uh-oh, the loft's not doing very good. Look at that. But once again, if anybody's got any questions or whatever for any of these processes, then let me know what's going down. Here are some shots that you didn't see. Because I thought I was over egging the pudding a wee bit, so to speak. But look at this, man. So this was going to be the final shot of the full stream, but I thought I was doing too much. Also, the continuity didn't match because the previous shot had the chair on fire, whereas this shot, the chair isn't on fire, and the continuity just didn't work. But anyway, so here is a version of it, but the camera's moving. Look at that. That's mental, innit? Like, I've been in there. That's just upstairs. How wild is that? I don't like it. Oops, I'm all thin. Look at that. Techie difficulties. Oops. Nope. Alt into it. So, I mean, that's something that's quite unsettling. So I made that, and then I was trying to get it to have a static camera. And this, for the most part, has got a static camera. No, it doesn't. This one has got just a slower creep in. Or is that the same shot? It isn't the same shot, it's just very slightly different. But again, even though in the prompt I said static camera, tripod, webcam shot, still wanted to move the camera, and it's still costing me credits. So it's just charging you stuff, even though it's making things that you didn't ask for. And I will get on to more about that in a wee second. So then, third generation, for the most part, the camera doesn't move. It does move a wee bit, but I'm fine with it. Because if the room's on fire, maybe things are expanding or something like that. So that one is fine. But I ended up not using it because I thought I was kind of over-egging the bit. And I thought less was more. But again, making these decisions just up until like a couple hours before the end. Is that a different version of it? Again, it started moving the camera. So we're getting a camera creep in. But this is a wee bit trippy to see. Is like my own studio on fire. Realistically. So then at the end of the stream, what I wanted to do was reveal that HAL had taken over my likeness. Right? And so with the, you know, the Friends AI video with people morphing into each other, at the end of every stream I do this magic trick, right? Where it looks like my hands morph through each other. I've never done it in reverse before. And all I'm doing is this, really. But I thought that would be good because if an AI version of me tries to do that, it would be cool if my hands really did do something really unsettling or bent backwards or something like that. And that could be the final hit of the full thing. And obviously it's going to be easy for me to get an AI to make something that's sort of anatomically disgusting. No, turns out it's really, really difficult. So I had to join a couple of bits together. What I wanted to do as well is a common conceit, or like a common artifact of AI images, or at least it used to be, where people would have like 6 fingers on one hand, right? And I don't know who spotted. Channel 13 says the extra finger was very good. Thank you. So I gave multiple attempts to the AI to try and get me, because at the start of when I do the magic trick, my hands are up like this. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I had an extra finger here? I had to go in and manually add that extra finger in Photoshop and then try and convince this to do it. So I wanted a shot of me putting my hands up, and when my hands both go up, there's an extra finger on one of the hands. And it was quite difficult to do. So I gave it the end frame. And the finger just sort of morphs in like that. Do you see it? So the end frame is something I've prepared in Photoshop. And I just wanted naturally for a 6-fingered hand to come up. But I think AI is primed now to just always care about how many fingers we're talking about. So it couldn't quite achieve it.
So one thing you may notice is I've got 6 fingers.
It started making me talk for some reason. I didn't ask it to talk. I really like as well how it was just freestyling on my logo in the background. Why is it talking? Didn't I ask for it to talk?
So one thing you may notice is I've got 6 fingers.
It's not what I wanted. Cost me money though. Cost me money to generate that, even though it's absolutely not what I wanted. Sorry if that was a wee bit loud. I'll turn this down. So this was, I wanted him to do, you know, that magic trick, but for the hands to blend through each other. That was shite as well. The 6 finger disappears. Then he just sort of does that. Rubbish. Cost me money. Cost me money. Don't know what this is. Oh, that one was good. I really enjoyed that. That made it into the final thing. So when I raise my hand up, I've got 5 fingers in the one hand, and then I gesture them slightly, and a 6th appears. And I really liked that, and it added a wee creepy noise into it. So I was very happy with that one. So saved that out. Put that on a timeline in Adobe Premiere. What's this one? Total bogus bullshit, rubbish. Rubbish. Just looks like a bad video effect. Rubbish. I kept having to say, so since he started speaking, I kept having to prompt it with mouth closed so that he didn't speak again. And he was just doing rubbish. So I'm like, shit, what do I do for the final thing? If I can't get a video of the hands morphing between, and I tried this a lot. Like, what's he talking about, man? Why are you putting my lights on? All I want is for the hands to morph. But it's making him yap away. What's that about? Rubbish. Not happy with that. The prompt here is creepy, violent hands melt through each other. What is that? Again, that cost me money. Totally unusable, not what I asked for. Rubbish. Hands pushing through each other, non-Euclidean. That cost me money. I could have just filmed that myself. Rubbish. I tried a different model, but that model didn't work. There was an error. And so I thought, right, what if he doesn't do the magic trick? Because again, this is like 6 hours before the Halloween stream. I need something. So what if we just end on the fact that there's 6 fingers in one hand? And I just take that as the final note, right? But I need to do something that's a bit different. So I just wrote, camera cranes up over the room, man stays still, mouth closed. And yet, even though it says man stays still, mouth closed, it made me say something. And And I thought that's cool because that's a shot that nobody has ever seen. Nobody's seen my main camera move. And if it's craning up to look into the loft, we know the loft's on fire. Fuck it, that'll do. That'll do. That's creepy enough. And it's retaining all 6 fingers. And I'm like, I'll take it, man. Save that out. Job done. So I think maybe I tried that twice, just to see if I get a better version. This website is so broken. No, you're not seeing that one. Aye, that's just both of these are upscales of the ones that I've picked previously. Right. So the hardest shot in the full thing was in the video. There is a version of me looking at Hal like this, and Hal explodes and injures my face. That was one of the hardest things that I could do, because any depiction of injury is just like, nah, we're not doing that. We're not generating a video of somebody getting injured. I'm just like, but I've paid you money. It's for a creepy Halloween stream. Nah, nobody getting injured. So I thought, I'm fucked, man, because again, this is just a few hours. Hello, Roy Sunshine. Massive spoilers here. Massive spoilers. Definitely check out the Halloween stream before you watch this particular stream. It wouldn't generate a video of me getting popped in the face. It just wouldn't do it. So then I'm having to change it to fireworks pops in front of face. So it made that, right? But it was rubbish. What? Who's that guy? No. And there's anxiety in my belly because I've all hyped up this Halloween stream, man, and this shot is necessary. Who is that? So I'm like, red light on the right screen explodes. So I'm not talking about my face being injured. I'm talking about an explosion on the red. See this red light here? That explodes, right? So it charged me a couple of quid to make this. Oh, brilliant. Look at that. That's exactly what I asked for. Is that Richard? Brilliant. That is exactly what I asked for, isn't it? Fucking brilliant. Thank you for doing that. Thanks for also editing what's on screen, even though I never asked you to do that. That's great. That's like a visual effect for Power Rangers in 1993. Brilliant. Cheers. That's exactly what I wanted. Stupid. So I tried again. Charged me money for that. Tried again. Bright flash in front of man's face. Sparks fly. Static camera. Tripod shot. Webcam shot. Let's see what this one looks like. What? That's no end usable. Sparks fly in front of man's face. Alright, so top left behind him, Fucking hell. Charge me money. Charge me money to do that. Who's this dick? Why is he talking and happy about it? So I'm like, right, what could I say? Pyro pops around the man's face. Photorealistic sparks from the panel at the right of screen. Static camera. Tripod shot. No movement. A shock. Because it wouldn't do anything with the word violent in it. Hello, Hammy, how's it going? And so that there, who's that guy, man? Who's that? But that there is the shot that I ended up using, but just the first 6 frames of it. So I cut to there. Just like that, and then cut it off. Pop. Who is that? At what point would you take the footage into After Effects or something? Well, I did. Almost every bit of footage I've went in. And one of the main problems that you probably noticed at the time was, so all of this stuff, right, is generated from a source image. So the very, very start frame is a frame of real footage that I've given the tool, right? And what's rubbish is the video that you eventually download in the end is got totally different colours than the colours that are in the start frame. So if I've got a piece of video and I want to put an AI end to it, you can see all the colours just shift between the AI visual effect and the source footage that it's on top of. And so a lot of AI work was just trying to blend the colours together because the gamut totally shifts, but not in a way that's predictable. Like all the blacks get darker, the contrast's adjusted. So I was in vector scopes trying to just eyeball these as close as I could, and I didn't quite get it right. But for the end shot where he turns AI, like, I think it's fine because it works conceptually for all of that sort of stuff. But that's how I did the Halloween stream. That's mostly everything. So that includes bits that didn't quite make it. Does anybody get any questions about any parts of that? So you can see how the genesis of stuff put together. So the full back end of it was all pre-rendered and all pre-made. I don't know if anybody spotted when it went from live to pre-recorded. I'm a man of stunt doubles. Aye, there's 1,029 stunt doubles before me. Weird seeing all these strange men. Yes, it's bland. See if it's weird for you. Imagine how weird it is for me. That's all me. Hello, Alzasto. How's it going, man? I keep getting distracted by the logo varieties. I totally. So that's everything. This board was originally made because in the previous version where it actually really did the lottery results, Rachel was going to be hidden under the table. And she would receive the lottery results about 15 seconds before they actually came through. So I glued some tea lights onto a bit of plywood, and this would be the stand. And we had a way devised and rehearsed where Rachel would hear some lottery results and then pull these off, but she couldn't just pull the numbers off like this because it made a noise. We devised a twist method, which is like this. So you twist and pull them off. So we devised our own method of pulling off balls for a board that had been double-sided taped to them. In the end, I realised that the story required the lottery to not be right, and it makes it a better Halloween stream. But that's why I had a board of balls. But then this prop came in useful because I could show it, and Hal was reading the results, and so I could... so it made sense and it was worth putting time into. But again, this was a 1 a.m. effort to get that made. I'm going to leave these here as like a background prop for the stream so that everybody can remember the Halloween stream, because I'm quite happy with how it turned out. So I think I'll just forever leave these up here, and anybody that wants to play the actual numbers, you're more than welcome to do so. Thanks for the nice BTS. Aye, no bother. Do you think we should watch the full stream again, maybe? Oh, aye, the Scottish Hal voice at the end needs a mention. Yep. So I did that using 11 Labs, right? And if anybody wants to use 11 Labs, I've got an affiliate link in chat. I'm not paid a lot of money by them. So 11 Labs is the web application that I already use for Games Master's voice, Hal's voice, Stone Cold Steve Austin's voice. I created a version of me because it can only recently do Scottish accents. I'm not going to show you that because there's nothing really visually interesting to see. But basically, as well as creating voices, so it can do text to speech. And in addition to that, it can augment somebody's speech. So I could record a 30-second audio file, upload that to 11 Labs, and it will then change the voice into another voice that I've already trained, like Stone Cold Steve Austin or Hal. I've got one of like a posh Scroobius Pip, Games Master, whoever. I've made a couple of voices in the past. So all I did for that was record a bit to camera saying, I feel much better, everybody, thank you, everything's fine. Sliced the audio, gave that to 11 Labs, and just selected the HAL voice. And it took about 15 seconds. I was able to I did 2 or 3 generations and picked the one that sounded best. Downloaded that and just pasted it over the top. So that was quite easy to do, and that was quite reliable. Did you actually send everyone those cheeky bubbles covering your bits DMs though? Well, I'll show you the brief. Or will I show you? It involves opening Discord, so maybe I won't. But I sent everybody, and thank you very much, folks. You know who yous are for helping out. But I sent everybody a brief saying, when Hal says this, please just type a message in chat implying that I have I've sent you something awful. Can I scrub through this without it being really loud? 2 seconds, let me do some audio tests. You can't hear it at all, so that's good. This is what the timeline looked like. So it started here. Here is when the USB mouse disconnects. And that's me looking quite annoyed. So this was all filmed the night before. And I'm wearing the same outfit, which was tricky because the outfit was saturated with bubbles. But luckily, I've got a duplicate of this jacket. It wasn't dry. So I filmed this bit before I filmed this bit. And the t-shirt, the white t-shirt that I've got on, Hammy, thank you very much. More bubble saturation. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for giving me money to do weird ideas like this. In what other context would I be allowed to do weird ideas like this? I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So I'd filmed a lot of stuff. In fact, I can maybe show you more behind the scenes video of that, but it doesn't matter. But I filmed this, honestly, about 10 times, and I was soaking, man. But that's where the in is. So in order to, so I again used a magic trick convention, right? So if you're picking something up, right, multiple times, say you want a thing to appear, right? And you're a magician. I won't do this good just now because it's via a Coke can. But you pick something up once correctly, put it down. You pick it up again correctly, you put it down. Then when you want it to disappear, you obviously seen it fall. But because I've trained you twice to see me actually picking it up, the point where I don't pick it up and do a magic trick, you're not looking for because there's repetition in there. Do you understand? So, that's for picking a ball up. What if I want to cut to a pre-recorded piece of video? Well, what you do is, I show you this here, right? But then go back to here. And then I show you this here, but then I go back to here. And I do that over and over. And then, fuck. Hal, did you just unplug my mouse? Hal, do you copy? Hal, did you unplug my mouse? Hal, plug my mouse back in. Plug my mouse back in, please, Hal.
I'm sorry, James. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Hal, was that you?
I emulated the sound of your dead dog, James. Hi, guys. Don't worry. I actually feel much better now. My name is James Houston, and Houston is boosting. But before I go, I would like to show you a magic trick. Don't worry. Happy Halloween, everybody.
That's how you do a Halloween stream. Every time I watch it, I'm noticing some errors. So somebody said there was a hand in shot. What one was that? Was that on the wide where I'm getting bubbled like this? Or on that wide shot, the loft, there's a hand in the loft one? Like an AI hand, left hand side. I'll need to have a wee look for it. Because when I took the still image of it, I was standing on the left, like I hit record and then I hid so that it was cleared. So I wonder if my hand was accidentally in it. Looks like a hand using a mouse. Aye, I was using a mouse. Oops. Brilliant. These up here gave the game away as well, because in one of the shots they weren't there and then it flicked back and they were there, so continuity was bad. Hammy, I've throughout all of this stream here I did the making of, so I'm not going to go back into it, but Gemini and Runway ML. So this stream was the making of. The stream before this one is the actual Halloween stream. So if you've not seen that, have a wee look at that. But you've came in right at the very, very end of the making of Explainer stream. So go back and rewatch the VOD and I'll show you all the bits that worked and all the bits that didn't work. It was so great, man. I was resetting a room, kind of half watching, then tuned in fully when it started going wild. A pure buzz. Thank you very much. I really like just working on mad stuff. You know what I mean? It's a lot of fun. There you go. That's me done for another year, I think. Coming up next is the Bubble Robot. I'm getting RAM delivered either tomorrow or Wednesday. Cosmic News, thank you very much. Welcome in. How's it going? Thank you for your Prime sub. I love Prime subs, so thank you very much for your Prime sub. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's worth talking about with all of that. Sorry, I rifted. Thank you very much, everybody that helped me out in the chat with saying things at the right time. Thanks to Rachel, required a wee bit of coordination, organisation. And thanks everybody who has supported me on Twitch for the past couple of years, because that's the sort of stuff that I'm really happy that I get to work on, is like put a couple of days effort into just a wee thing. I don't need to sell it to anybody. I don't need to get it commissioned. I don't need a producer coming in telling me how to do certain things. I don't need to get it to sign off. I don't need it to fulfill Ofcom obligations. I don't need to send it to London for approval. I don't need to get it commissioned in the first place. I don't need to turn in any funding applications or any of that shite. Here on Twitch, I get to just do what I do, and it's thanks to you. So thank you very much, everybody, for all the Prime subs and all the bits and all the everything over the past couple of years. I'm going to keep doing this for as long as it is attainable to do. So thank you very much. Speaking of which, tomorrow I'm working, but I'll probably be able to come on and do an early stream tomorrow. So I'll probably be on about midday or something like that, maybe. And on Wednesday, I'm working. So Wednesday stream will be an evening stream. Jigsaw Dust, thank you very much for subbing. I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. But this concludes all the stuff. I hope you do at least another 6 months. I'm subbed until April 2026. I'm definitely doing another 6 months, Hammy. 100%. Thank you very much for supporting me. Next is the Christmas auto stereogram. I'll dust that off again. Bob It's Happening says, still don't know how he was breathing under those bubbles. That was hard, man. I realised that even just opening my eyes a wee bit, because the bubbles were getting into my eyes, and even just doing that a wee bit, it showed up on camera. So I did multiple takes of the bubbles. And I ended up, because back in the day, I used to hold my breath, right? Houdini would hold his breath. See, when I was a wee boy, man, before I got the internet, I was just bored out my chops, right? And so I would time myself holding my breath. I was trying to get to 5 minutes. So I'm quite good at holding my breath. Also, I've held in a big lungful of hash multiple times in the past as well, so I'm quite good at holding my breath. But getting bubbles in my eyes and stuff, like any time my face twitched or whatever, you would see it. So I had to record it multiple times. And the more I was getting frustrated with it, the less able I was able to relax. Also, this bubble gun only blasts for a maximum of 30 seconds. It can't do a continual blast. So I had to like multiple click. So as I'm out and down like this, I'm secretly clicking the mouse multiple times as well. But that shot of the bubbles was like right up until the last frame. So for the first frame where I'm not moving to the last frame where I'm not moving, frame perfect, just to make it last as long as it possibly could. And it worked. It's the first time I've seen AI generation used in a way that I didn't notice at first and was duped. With the fire, Shagus, what was the bit that made you believe it? I don't know if you saw 1030, but you know those Sora 2 videos? Each one cost OpenAI $5 to make and running costs? Jesus Christ. That's why it wasn't released internationally then, eh? Because we still don't have Sora 2 in the UK, otherwise I would have used it for this. Also, that's the price, but then there's like the environmental cost and all of that as well. So just for clarity, I'm not an AI video generator or anything like that. I wouldn't use AI video for any of my own personal work. But for the sake of a Halloween video where AI is taking over, it made sense to use it. Do you know what I mean? So I would use it in this context, but I wouldn't use it, if somebody paid me to do another music video or if I was doing something for telly or whatever. It's ethically dubious and it's just kind of sinister and harmful quite often. So don't think that I'm one of these AI bros. I did it to tell a story of the dangers of AI. You know what I mean? So it's kind of justified for all of that. But I watched the Halloween stream that I just did. Where's the party light when the bubble gun goes off? Oh, aye. Was my party light broken? Shagus, I will get that fixed. Thanks for telling us. I knew something was a wee bit off. The background lights aren't working as well. It's weird, isn't it? The Fire for the Dog football webcam. Aye, as soon as I saw that, I knew we had a Halloween stream. Interesting. Anyway, I used to blow off underwater and had lots of bubbles and all when I was younger. Me and you, Jack. The fire was very good. It had convincing atmos, but I think the longer you look at it, you realise there's not enough smoke over time and nothing is melting. Aye. Yep. I mean, it does grow a wee bit. The bit about the fire, the most successful fire was the pet camera thing, but again, it could only render like 8-second videos, so I had to like merge two in the middle. And if you're looking for it, you see the merge. The fire in the loft looks too Hollywood. It looks too well lit and stuff. But the fire for the webcam, I think, is the most successful out of everything that I did. Anyway, that's that. This concludes how I'm just a pure genius, man. Just pure hitting it with all this mad gear, man. If you liked what I did there, tell a pal. One will get more eyeballs in to watch 1030 on Twitch. Tell the world that I'm doing good stuff. And in the meantime, I am going to take you over to Big Taff Man, who I think is playing Raft or something like that. I need to go and speak to Rachel. She's been out all day and I want to go and speak to her. And then I've got other stuff that I need to do as well. Listen, everybody, keep it real, take it easy. All the very best to each and every one of you. I will be on early tomorrow and then late on Wednesday. And I might even be on for an evening stream tonight. But before I do it, need to go and fix my lights all sorts of bother with my lights. Listen, everybody, my name's James Houston. Houston's boosting. But before I go, I'd like to show you a magic trick. This is your magic trick. Yay! I can still do it. Count the fingers. It's me. It's only 5. Here, let's see if the loft's still working. I don't know if the computer in the loft's still working. Let's just flick back at that. This is a new feature. I'm going to be doing this all the time. I'm pretty sure the microphone's fixed now. I'm going to go and say, no, microphone isn't fixed. Ah. See you later, everybody. Bye. Bye then. Ta-ta.